Welcome to the Rider Outsiders, where we talk CFL football and your Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm Mitch Wiles with Dylan Robson. Dylan?
Hey there, Mitch. Week 1 Rider football in the books. I saw the game. You saw the game? Let's get started with some quick hits.
Week 1, the West sweeps the East, 4-0. Dylan, is this a blip, or is this going to be another year of a dominant West division in the CFL?
You know what? It's hard to say. It is hard to say. I think that the last 2 years, the West might have dominated, but the East ended up winning the Grey Cup. So maybe there's not too much to worry about when it comes to that, because I think the East has a lot of time to catch up. I wouldn't worry about them yet.
That's true.
We're taken for granted for that matter.
Yeah, in a small league, you just have to get into the playoffs, and you can win it all. It was this week we had Edmonton over Winnipeg 33-30, Sask over Toronto 27-19, Calgary over Hamilton 28-14, and BC beat up the mighty Montreal Alouettes 22-10. Next up, Manziel sits through loss. So Johnny Manziel did not play at all in that Hamilton loss to Calgary. Dylan, will Manziel start in week 2?
Well, put me on the spot. I don't think he's going to start, but he may start soon. Manziel's we'll see him pretty soon. If he's not coming in off this game, I don't think he's going to get the start, though.
Are we good on that one?
Let's get here. What else we got? What else we got going on here, Mitch?
Okay. Next up, quick hits. Just quick answers, quick questions. Rule changes, big change. Coaches can no longer challenge pass interference or contact on receivers away from the play. So the ball's got to be thrown to the receiver, and they can challenge that. They can't have receivers running into halfbacks on the other side of the field, hoping to be able to challenge. Dylan, do you like the rule change? Have you seen it take effect sort of in the week 1 action?
Yeah, simply put, I like the rule change. The less challenges, the better. Honestly, you could get rid of the challenge altogether. I miss the old days when you yell at the TV, you'd yell at the ref, and you'd move on to the next play. And if the call was wrong, it was wrong. If it wasn't, the ref probably got it right most of the time anyways. So, hey,
I
the
totally
less challenges,
agree.
the better.
Oh, yeah, and last year it seemed like fans were turned off by all these challenges. You'd have 4 or 5 challenges on pass interference throughout the game. It slowed everything down. So good on the league for that change. And finally, the big catching Calgary is already being touted as the catch of the year, a catch of the year candidate. It's a Joanne Breskikin. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or if you've seen this catch, a one-handed stab from Bo Levi Mitchell. Did you see the catch,
Yep.
Dylan?
I did see the catch not long ago. Saw it on my phone as I was scrolling, and hell of a catch. One hand jumps up, really just sort of yanks it out of the air, and catch of the year candidate, sure. I mean, it's week 1. That was definitely the catch of the week, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Riders ended up with a few more catch of the year candidates.
Mr. Duron Carter went up for another backhand stab there in the Riders game on Friday. Not sure if you saw that from the seats, but he did not come down with it this time. That was the big catch of the year last year.
Yeah, Carter's got some good grabs in him this year for sure. Can't catch them all. But
Can't catch them all. All right. Let's move on. Week 1 versus Toronto. The Rough Riders came out on top. What do you want to talk about first? I guess we could look into Zach's play there on offense, making his first start for the Rough Riders and getting his first win since 2016.
Yeah, hey, first start, 0 interceptions. That sounds like a win to me.
What'd you think of Zach Collaros' play?
I liked it. It was exactly what it needed to be. There were some good plays. There was a couple longer plays. He seemed pretty calm for the most part, and we put a couple good drives together when it counted. Got some field goals, touchdowns. It was. I thought it was a great performance from Zach.
Yeah, I think he came out
really
pretty
nothing
well.
I could complain about.
The first quarter, if you're going to complain about anything, I was getting a little bit nervous that they weren't doing too much at the start. But you're right, he ended up going 18 for 26, 72%. So a lot of short passes, 203 yards, 1 touchdown. The big thing, no interceptions. So that was definitely helpful. Let's move on. D-line, 3 sacks from Charleston Hughes in his debut in Ryder Green. What did you think about the D-line play?
Well, you talk about the debut. I'm pretty sure the first play of the game was Charleston Hughes pass rush that forced an incomplete pass or a near sack or something like that. First play of the Toronto's offensive game was Charleston Hughes putting an end to that play, and I think that sort of just set the pace right off the bat. Charleston Hughes got a sack. He was fighting with the QB in the back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, he had a great
more
game.
than a couple times.
Yeah, he had 3 sacks.
Not fighting, but getting in there. Yep.
Yeah, 3 sacks in the first half. D line was doing great, and I guess I didn't realize. So the Charleston Hughes and Jefferson didn't play at all in the second preseason game. So this is really their first time playing live football this year, and it was excellent. They held the defense to just 54 rushing yards, 233 passing yards, but that's against Ricky Ray, 19 points. What's your thoughts on the defense this year? To me, they're looking great.
Yeah, you know what? They seemed like the Riders played a pretty solid game of football, defense included, obviously. And hey, pick six, love the pick six. You know what? I was at the game live, watching the game and in the crowd, and right before that pick six, you hear over the house speakers the bell toll from For Whom the Bell Tolls, Metallica song.
Yeah.
Just like doom, doom, dun, 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 dun. And then play starts, pick six, crowd goes wild. It just, Ricky Ray, the bell tolled for on that play for sure. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's rookie cornerback Nick Marshall, pick 6 there, and so that's our rookie on the secondary. So when the brand new guy on the secondary gets interception the first game, that makes me feel pretty good about that secondary, because the rest of them were playing on the team last year and have already started to gel. So that looks great. Again, Ricky Ray, he went 22 for 37, so that's a little bit low for percentages for him. 233 yards, no touchdown passes, which is a great sign for the Riders. Let's see what else we got here on the O-line. I guess we could talk a little bit about that. So what we didn't talk about was the cuts last week, and Travis Bond, the big free agent signing, the American tackle that was making all that money, got let go, and pretty much because I guess Chris Jones said his backup was playing almost as good as him, so we're gonna get a little bit cheaper. What'd you think of the O-line play?
Well, it didn't get out of control. Zach Collaros had time. He had, again, I liked it. I think the Riders really played a solid game in most places on the field. What do you think? What did you see there?
Well,
did you play O-line? Stop.
No.
Did you play O-line
No.
in high school,
No.
by the way? Or what were you playing mostly in high school?
Mostly fullback, played some safety, and then I moved out to slot back, I think, in my senior year. No, I was not on the O-line. I think you were recruited for the O-line each year, but declined. But the O-line looked good, so we rushed for 111 yards. Whenever your team can rush for over 100 yards, that's a good game, I would say. And they let up 2 sacks, but that's I guess maybe that's average. I'm not too sure. So I'm not too nervous about the O-line. Let's see. One thing you wanted to talk about was the new kicker, Brett Lawther. Lawher? How do you say that? Lawher? Lawther.
You nailed it. One of those
ways is likely correct. He went 4 for 5, long 46. Missed his first attempt there. What were you seeing out of the kicker?
And it was awesome. Great debut. Missed the first one. I mean, it didn't even matter to us in the long run. So he nailed every other. I think the very next one he nailed was like 12 yards longer or something like that. So than the first one that he missed. So I mean,
long 46.
He got his composure back pretty quick.
Yeah, it looks like we're okay there. He's got quite a leg on him, and even the one he missed, I think he booted that right through the end zone. So that's 20 yards deep. So he's kicking these balls.
He did.
Yeah, and I think it was in preseason he made a 55-yarder. So once he settles in, and it looks like he sort of has, going 4 for 5, that's good enough. We got a good kicker there. Quick shout out to Jordan Williams-Lambert. That's the new slot back that took over for Bakari Grant and sort of allowed the Riders to get rid of Chad Owens as well. That's a big target in the sort of middle of the field. I think he had 4 catches or so. It looks like our receiving core, even though there's some new names on there, looking pretty excellent.
Yeah, they looked great. There was a couple plays where I wanted, you're yelling from the seat. It's like, this guy's open, go there, go there. But I liked everything that I saw. There was good competitive ball happening from the receivers for sure. And what did you say? What's the new guy's name there?
It's a hyphenate. It's Jordan Williams Lambert.
Jordan Williams Lambert.
Yeah.
No, a couple great plays from him as well.
All right, so we got to talk Jerome Messam. Jerome Messam looked a little old in the first quarter there. He looked to me, he looked a little slow. He got caught on the line of scrimmage a couple of times. He eventually won me over by running through people and the huge runs later in the game that helped seal this win. Talk a little bit about this, the Jerome Messam's play, and how do you think that's going to work out?
You know what? I think we have enough young guys as well on the team that where we can just mix it up and get Messam in on those short, longer, almost the Zarka style play calls. You know what I'm saying? And the Neil Hughes play calls of the day. Bring him in on those ones. Bring him in towards the end where he's just running over. If you can keep him fresh till the end, and he ends up running over tired D line or tired linebackers and stuff. I think that's where he could really excel.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see some of the smaller guys doing some of the early stuff. I wouldn't worry about him being too old. Nick Lewis last year kind of blew my mind. I saw him go for years at that same pace, and I think Messam. I think he's got a little bit of that in him as well. I'm not too worried about Messam.
No, he's in great shape, and he's 33. I think he was a leading rusher last year, or at least the leading Canadian rusher last year. Trey Mason, he's the smaller guy you're talking about. Check this out. He's 5'9", 209. 5'9", 210 pounds. So that guy is a bus as well. He's going to hit you hard and low. So he played pretty well. I think he had, let's see if we can bounce out to the stats here. Nope, don't have it.
He had a bust-out run there. I think it was about a 15-yard run I think he had there at one point. I think the running game, I think we said it early in the preseason with the last couple episodes we had here, where I think the running game is going to be strong this year. Even if we didn't see all of it this past game, I think the running game is just going to improve as the season goes on.
Messam went 21 carries, 72 yards. Trey Mason, 5 carries, 37 yards. So he had the bigger average, 7.5 yards average there. Let's move on from the running backs, and if we can talk a little bit about what potentially will the Rough Rider defense be referred to. Is there a nickname out there? I think there are a lot of reporters are asking Charleston Hughes, what's the identity of this defense? Dylan, you got some juicy nicknames for this Rider defense?
Jeez, some juicy nicknames for the defense. Hey, you know what? It's funny. Nicknames kind of something that you earn sort of as the season goes on. So it might be a little early to be asking about nicknames.
Oh my goodness! But they stuffed James Wilder to 16 rushing yards. That guy at the start of the season here is saying he's going to be a 1,000 guy. That's quite the feat. Right. Hughes looks like on top of his game with his 3 sacks. So I think. And
what did we say a couple weeks ago about Wilder's 1,000 attempt?
I believe it's a lot of people. A lot of people say it, and sure, you could still do it if he turns it on, and maybe the Rider defense is one of the better in the league, and that's why he didn't have the game he would have wished. All right, so no nicknames from Dylan today on the Rough Rider defense.
We could call them the devastating defense. We could call them defense of destruction. We could call them
the Green Machine. I think it's been used before.
It might have been used a couple times, yeah. Gang Green. There's so many.
Gang Green's not bad.
They'll come up with something way slicker than I could come up with.
What did we have before? We had the Wolf Pack, I think, for the secondary. Probably the best one was who's the defensive end that used to be out of Winnipeg? He's bounced around everywhere. The Mayor.
Odell Willis, Swaggerville.
Well, we had
gotta love it.
The Reaper. Who is the Reaper?
The Reaper, Reggie Hunt.
There you go. See. It's going to come, so maybe not yet. Another couple of weeks, we'll hear some nicknames flying around for this defense because I think they're that good. All right, so this brings us to the meh of the week. What are your candidates for the meh of the week?
Well, there could have been a couple candidates for the Met of the Week, but honestly, the Riders looked good. So my Met of the Week goes to the defending Grey Cup champs, I guess. Maybe Toronto came out a little bit flat, but I think the Riders looked good all game. So was some of that because Toronto just wasn't ready? They're not the team they were last year. The momentum wasn't there. I don't know. But Man of the Week goes to the Toronto Argonauts.
All right, I'll buy that.
A little flat in a team where they needed to come out strong against.
I agree. Yes, I was expecting a little bit more out of Ray, and Wilder was definitely disappointing. So I may just point that a little bit to Wilder. All right, so next week, Saskatchewan is in Ottawa to face the Red Blacks. Any thoughts on the Red-Black matchup for next week? I don't think they've played yet.
You know what? The Red Blacks are still new to me. I've seen them for two years already now, but they're still a fun team to watch. I don't know why. I think their Grey Cup win a couple years ago was awesome to see, and it honestly made me just a little bit of a Red Blacks fan.
Oh, totally. And, if you have to cheer for a team.
So, yeah, I always look forward to when the Riders play the Red Blacks. I think it's awesome. Love it.
I actually used to be a closet Hamilton fan, too, when they sucked really bad for so many years. You just feel bad for
Danny
them.
Mac.
Come on,
Danny
boys.
McManus.
Put it together. So the Red Blacks, though they didn't play this week, they won both their preseason games. They beat Toronto 32-17 in preseason for what that counts. But they do have a quarterback injury, don't they?
It seems like maybe it's the CFL. I don't know if it's the same in the NFL, but with the CFL, it's like you're guaranteed to see that backup quarterback for every team for at least more than one game. Come in for an injured starter. Every team, I think, in the CFL really needs a solid backup. I think showed that this week as well with their lightning delay game. Winnipeg's quarterback took him some time to warm up, but great performance from a rookie. I mean, you need that in a backup.
Yeah, I checked that out, and it was so close to going to overtime. I was crossing my fingers for overtime. It would have brought that game to like 2 a.m. in local time. All right, so we did talk about Trevor Harris a couple of weeks ago. He got injured in preseason, and the team was saying, "Yep, he's going to be ready for week 1. Don't worry about it. He's going to be ready for week 1." And pretty much the local media is saying he's on schedule for the season opener. So it looks like Harris, they're saying he's still on track to play Saskatchewan next week. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this one up?
You know what? Loved week 1. Loved it. Rider football's back. It was awesome to see. Awesome to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to week 2. Looking forward to hearing what the coach has to say this week during practice and all that stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Jones usually gives an entertaining interview, to say the least.
Okay. Well, with that, that's the show for this week. For Dylan Robson, I'm Mitch Wiles, and this was the Rider Outsiders.